What's up guys, welcome back to another video, and today's subject is Carvana and the registration process. So if you guys have seen the news recently, you have seen that Carvana's dealer's license has been revoked in the state of North Carolina, specifically the Raleigh location. So if you're trying to buy a car from North Carolina, I would say you're going to be waiting a very long time. And to be honest with you, I never thought that this was going to happen. I just couldn't conceive that it would. I thought they would get away with doing whatever they were doing for forever. But basically they got banned for a few different things. So one, they were selling cars without a state inspection. Another thing they were doing was they were selling cars with an out-of-state temporary tag, so it wasn't from North Carolina. And then the last thing they failed to do was deliver the titles to the DMV. So I actually worked in the registration department for a while in Carvana, so I kind of know how that whole process works. So if you'd like to know an explanation on how the registration process works, how the title process works, stay tuned for the video and I'll explain in more detail.
Welcome to the complex.
It's a big gap between us and the game. In the next life, I'm trying to stay paid. When I die, put my money in the...
Alright guys, so in North Carolina, Carvana was the top seller of all used vehicles in the state. So they had to do whatever they could to sell the vehicles in that state, which is how the whole registration fiasco happened. Each state has different laws when it comes to registration. So in my state, for example, I can take my registration paperwork, I can take whatever I need and walk into the DMV, register the car myself, and be done with the whole process. I've done it quite a few times. But some states require you to have the dealership register the car on your behalf. You're not allowed to do a walk-in or go into the DMV. And others, you can only do a walk-in in DMV. Some states allow you to do both. So depending on the state, depends on what you can do. So for example, for like North Carolina or for New York, you actually need to have a state inspection center sticker that you present on the vehicle at all times, saying that you have went to a registered certified state inspection center and that it has passed that inspection. So depending on the state, depends on what you have to do to register the car. What happens is since they're registering the car on your behalf, sometimes they need to get paperwork done from you, the customer, which is something like getting a paper notarized, giving you them permission to register the vehicle on your behalf. So what happens there is, actually, let me show you a quick example of what happens a lot of times. So as you see, that happens. So that's I would say a pretty big reason why you don't get your registration on time. Another thing is specifically how the registration works is they use a third-party vendor. They do not go and register it on Carvana's time. Carvana sends the paperwork out to the third party. The third party then handles the registration process and then mails it directly to you, the customer. So once it's out of Carvana's hands, there's really nothing Carvana can do, and it's a big top secret on who the third party registration or vendor is, so they will not ever disclose who that is, so you don't go back to them and kind of try to push them along. So the most we can do as far as communication is there is a special department that can actually contact them to kind of figure out what's going on, but it's mostly through the computer and email. So there's not a phone number or somebody you can call. It's all internally that we can contact them, and we can see their notes to kind of see what the process is. So the good thing is it tells you what's missing or what part of the process it is. The bad thing is there's no real way to push that along, and if somebody sets it down and doesn't pick it back up, or if there's some issues, then it could be quite a while before you, the customer, are aware of that issue and are able to correct that issue. So it's a pain point in a lot of customer purchases. I dealt with angry people all day long about the registration process. Sometimes it took a month, sometimes it took 3 months, sometimes it took 6 months, sometimes it took a year. The most I've had is about a year and 5 months to completely register the vehicle. So in the meantime, what they do is they give you a temporary tag. So these tags last for 30 days in, I would say, most states. So you get a 30-day temporary tag. That 30-day tag covers you for that to travel in that vehicle. Some states don't even allow you to have a 30-day temporary tag, especially one more than once. So they would keep reprinting and keep reissuing the 30-day tags, and then that gives you 30 more days to drive the car while they figure out what's going on with your registration. So it's a really bad band-aid that they use in order to kind of fix or delay or buy some more time. So that definitely makes a lot of customers upset, and it's really not a great practice in my opinion. I mean, it is something to help out, but getting the registration process right, I think would be more best to invest their time and energy in than printing out temporary plates to kind of stall for time. So that's just my opinion, but hey, it is what it is. The same thing with the titles. When you get a title of the vehicle, there's a couple things that happen. If you pay the car cash, it comes straight directly from Carvana, from the DMV to you, the customer. If you're financing and you pay off your last payment, it comes from their financing, which is Bridgecrest. So Bridgecrest handles all the financing for Carvana. They also handle all the financing for drive time. So once you are done, you handle that with Bridgecrest. Bridgecrest issues the title in your name. They send it over to you and you're done. But if you paid it with cash through Carvana, what happens is now the Carvana advocates, we have to process that through whatever you buying the car. We have to process that and then through the DMV, and then it goes over to you. So in that process, again, paperwork being signed, things being submitted between us being the Carvana advocates or the DMV, it could get lost. Paperwork could be signed in the wrong places, which definitely is a horrible thing to happen. And by the time they find out, it's 2-3 weeks down the line. So if you're trying to buy the car cash and give it to somebody or sign it over in somebody else's name, that can be a real headache and it could take a while. And the final and last horrible thing that can happen is the worst thing ever. I've dealt with this multiple times, probably a handful, I would say 5-6 times, but they purchased the car from somebody. They put the car online within a week, or if not less, especially if it's a really good car. I can recall a Mustang GT350. Put the car online for sale 3 days after they purchased it from the customer. They did not get the title transferred in Carvana's name, so they did not own the car. The owner is still the owner of the Mustang who originally had it. So he still had the title in his name. Carvana did not have any way, shape, or form, any kind of title. They did not sign the paperwork properly, but they put the car up for sale online. A customer buys the car, gets the nice 3-day shipping, gets it delivered straight to his front door, signs some paperwork, never gets the title. He's trying to get the title, he gets to run around on the phone, and nobody can give him any answers. Well, the answer is that Carvana messed up and didn't get the title. So in that situation, what ends up happening is the customer is very upset, doesn't get the title, and it can take several months. I'm talking like 9, 10, 15 months in order to rectify that once they find out what happened and trace it back and get all the paperwork signed and reissue a title and all that fun stuff. So that's the reason why you have a huge delay, and I'm sorry for you, but it's kind of a messy process. Hopefully in the future they figure out the whole title registration process a little bit smoother. I think that this, for them being banned from selling cars in Raleigh, North Carolina for the next 180 days or until 2022, I think that's going to teach them a real lesson, and it's actually going to show them some consequence to their actions. And hopefully they take a real look at fixing that whole registration process and making that a lot smoother. Now, due to pandemic shutdowns and things like that, I admit DMV has been horrible, but right now it's really not horrible, so we really shouldn't have that many issues. And I'm just glad that somebody actually made it happen to make them responsible for this whole registration process being so messy. So If you guys got any questions, again, leave them in the comment. Thanks for watching the video. Like it, subscribe to the channel if you want some more car stuff, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.